Upset alert, Nate. Upset alert. Let's go.
Upset.
Okay. Upset alert. I did not expect this one, man. I
Neither
really
did
did
I.
not. Oh my God, we got a lot to talk about. So, the Cincinnati Bengals defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 27-17, man.
Oh man.
I cannot believe this.
Oh,
Oh my
it
God.
was a beautiful recipe of failure. I loved it.
I can't believe the Pittsburgh Steelers failures in the past 3 games. I cannot believe it. But
Oh.
you know what? Let me read some stats, okay? We'll
Mhm.
start off with some stats. So let's start with Big Ben. Ben Roethlisberger went 20 for 38, 170 yards, a TD, and an interception, and 2 fumbles, in which one was lost.
Ugh,
Okay. Before I get to everybody else, let me just say that's unnecessary, man. That is
it
really
is.
unnecessary. Honestly, we can't blame. You could blame the fumbles on Ben Roethlisberger. Most likely, when you get a fumble, it requires you to be hit. And the offensive line, man, let me tell you something. They got to do a better job
Oh, I
protecting in
agree.
that game. Honestly, man. So like, I can't believe it, man. He has not been himself these past 3 games. All right, Benny Snell, 18 rushes, 84 yards and a TD. Benny Snell has really been picking up the pace since James Conner's been hurt and since James Conner hasn't played. He's really been picking up the pace. And I got to give credit to Benny Snell. He did a good job this game. I can't really say much about him, you know?
Right, right.
He played a very good game. He was one of the highlights of this offense this game because there wasn't a lot. Deontay Johnson had 8 receptions, 59 yards, and a TD. Not bad. You know, he could have did a lot better, but you can only do as much as your quarterback allows you to do. Um, Chase Claypool, 3 receptions, 54 yards. And then Juju Smith, he had a fumble, but he did not have a good game. Let me tell you something. The problem I see with this Steelers offense is they're not getting everybody receiving. They're not getting them all involved in this game. They're
Right.
not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. The wide receivers for the Steelers have really been dropping balls, and it's really been annoying me because these are professionals getting paid millions of dollars to catch footballs. And like, I understand if it's a tough catch, but you're
Mhm.
dropping these balls, these like slant balls.
A lot of them were easy passes too.
Right, like slant balls is like the first thing that like an NFL wide receiver learns how to throw. Catch. I'm not throw, excuse me, catch. You know what I'm saying? And they're just
Right.
not catching short throws that they need to be catching. And like that's a big problem. Now going to the defense. The defense had a decent night. You know what I'm saying? They had a decent night. So let me get to them. Minka Fitzpatrick had 7 tackles and 1 tackle for loss. Cam Hayward had 7 tackles and 1 tackle for loss as well. Avery Williamson had 7 tackles. TJ Watt, 4 tackles, 1 sack, and 3 tackles for loss. Stephon Tua had 6 tackles, 1 sack. And then now we're gonna go to a big highlight in this game. Okay, and both of these, the same position for each team, had a great game. The punters. The punters were a key factor in this game. All right, I'm gonna go with punter Jordan Berry. Jordan Berry for the Pittsburgh Steelers had 6 punts, 52.2 yards average per punt. That is crazy. 1 punt inside the 20, and his long punt was 61 yards.
Mm.
That is great job by a punter. And you know what? The punter had a very busy day in this game because the offenses really didn't do a lot. So the punter had a very busy game, but I got to give credit to this punter. This punter did an amazing job. And if the Steelers would have won this game, this is definitely special teamers of the week.
Absolutely.
Now going to the Cincinnati Bengals, Ryan Finley. So Ryan Finley, the passing didn't do a lot, but rushing he was very impactful. He went 7 for 13, 89 yards passing with a passing TD, and then he went 10 rushes, 47 yards and a TD. That was something that really caught the Steelers defense by surprise. Is how much Ryan Finley was able to run, and the one thing I looked at was like I looked at Ryan Finley and he hasn't been doing that much this year, right? But it looked like this game when he started using his legs, he started really getting the Pittsburgh Steelers off balance. And even Mike Tomlin said it. He said they were creating a lot of plays, especially with the quarterback running that we did not expect, and they were able to capitalize on them. So credit to Ryan Finley and credit to the Bengals offensive coordinator and head coach for mixing up the game plan a little bit offensively. Giovanni Bernard, I have been telling you, he has not been doing what Joe Mixon was. He was not picking up the pace. You know what I'm saying? That was a
Mm.
key reason why the Bengals just weren't getting anything going. This game was different. Giovanni Bernard had 25 rushes, 83 yards, and a TD. And he also had 1 reception for a TD, which went 14 yards. So credit to Giovanni Bernard. These stats right here is something that Joe Mixon would have done. You
Right.
get what I'm saying? And that's what I was saying. It's next man up, and the next man up has to do their job correctly. See, as a head coach, if I was an NFL head coach, I have very high expectations. I don't care if you're a rookie or not. You know what I'm saying? We prepared you. Training camp prepared you for this. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have a preseason. I understand that, but training camp prepared you for this. Okay. And when you step on a team, right? I automatically expect greatness out of every player. Nate
Right.
over here showing me his fantasy while I'm trying to make a point. What the hell? But it's all good, Nate. But look, when you bring in a player, right? If I was a head coach, I expect greatness out of that player. I don't care who it is. You know what I'm saying? I
Right,
don't care if
right.
you come from a D3 college. I still expect greatness out of you. You know what I'm saying? Every player has a potential to be great. It's all a matter of what steps are you willing to take to become great. You know what I'm saying? And Giovanni Bernard is a veteran of the game, and I mean, the expectations are even higher when you're a veteran. You've been in the league for so long that you should know what to do. And Giovanni Bernard and Jeremy Hill, they had a very good rushing game back when Andy Dalton was there about a good 4 years ago. Obviously, it's not the same running game, but Joe Mixon really getting hurt really hurt this team too. Not with Joe Burrow getting hurt, but Joe Mixon is the one that gets overshadowed. So, I mean, Giovanni Bernard coming in and having 83 yards on the ground and then that receiving touchdown, I got to give him credit. He was a big factor for the reason why the Cincinnati Bengals won. AJ, receiving wise, there wasn't really a lot, man. I mean, AJ Green had 2 receptions, 40 yards, and T. Higgins had 3 receptions, 31 yards. So, and AJ Green, I believe, had that touchdown. So, I mean, when you look at all that, man, I mean, it's really hard. Like like passing, it wasn't that great. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Rushing, it was a pretty good game, especially between the mixture of Ryan Finley and Giovanni Bernard. That Ryan Finley was really Giovanni Bernard had a bigger impact, right? But Ryan Finley's rushing was a bigger key factor in my opinion, only because the Pittsburgh Steelers were not expecting Ryan Finley to have more running than he did passing, and that really caught them off guard. Now going to the defense of the Bengals, if I had to pick two guys, right, that really stepped up and really made an impact in this game on defense. Von Bell, the safety, he had 7 tackles and a tackle for loss. And Mackenzie Alexander, he had 6 tackles and he had 1 interception for 21 yards. Mackenzie Alexander, people who don't know who he is, he came from Clemson. He was a former Minnesota Viking corner. And let me tell you something, I was very high on Mackenzie Alexander. Very high on Mackenzie Alexander. I really like Mackenzie Alexander. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you something about Mackenzie Alexander. I believe one year, I think it was the 2017 year when the Vikings had that insane defense. Mackenzie Alexander led the league for corners and sacks. He had 4 sacks that year. Think about that, Nate. Think about that. A corner having 4 sacks on a season. That's really good. That means you really got to blitz him and come bring him around a lot. And that's kind of what Mackenzie Alexander was. He was our like tackling corner. You know what I'm saying? He was our corner that pressured that quarterback. And Mackenzie Alexander is honestly he is a very good player. I think I really do think he is a very good corner. I really had I speak nothing but high praises about Mackenzie Alexander, especially when his time with the Minnesota Vikings. He was a key part to the Minnesota Vikings defense being good. He was a part that was very underlooked, and on the Bengals, he's even underlooked. But Mackenzie Alexander really had a good night, and I got to give him credit. I think him and Von Bell, I think that secondary really did a great job slowing things down. Then we go to Josh Bynes. Josh Bynes had 9 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and a fumble recovery. He was also a key part to the reason why they won this game. Josh Bynes, he was at the right place at the right time to get the ball that was being fumbled. The 9 tackles really, which I believe led the team, that really helped them propel a win against the Pittsburgh Steelers and keep them at base for most of the game. Jesse Bates, I was very high on when he came out of college. I believe he went to Wake Forest. I'll probably double check that because I don't want to give fake information, but I believe Jesse Bates went to Wake Forest. But Jesse Bates had 5 tackles that game, especially as a safety. That's very good. That's pretty good for a football safety. He went to Wake Forest University. I was right because I was looking at him when he was in college. I was like, this is a very good safety. And I mean, honestly, bro, if you look deep into the Bengals, they do have a very good team.
Mm.
Again, it's all about the potential that's going to come out of this team. And Jesse Bates'
Right.
full potential, I believe it hasn't reached yet. You know what I'm saying? I believe it hasn't reached its peak. Going to other guys on defense though that had a big impact in this game. Carl Lawson had a forced fumble and a sack. So Carl Lawson made a couple plays that game that really could have that really affected Ben Roethlisberger. Um, Darius Phillips, he had 4 tackles and 1 tackle for loss. And Jermaine Pratt had 6 tackles. Now, like I said, remember I talked about the punters and how they had a big factor in this game? Well, the Bengals punter didn't have as big of a factor, but he was very big. He was a very big factor into the reason why they won. So Kevin Huber, 7 punts, 45.6 yards average, 1 punt inside the 20, and a 51-yard long punt.
Mm.
So let me which was pretty good stats. Now, here's what I'm saying. It's not as good as Jordan Berry on the Pittsburgh Steelers, but what I will say is this. I think he will be AFC Special Team Player of the Week, only for the fact that if it was the Steelers winning, Jordan Berry's getting it without a doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think of a punter who punts 61 yards and averages 52 yards a punt. That's crazy. But, like, Kevin Huber didn't do as much as Jordan Berry, but he did have a significant role in putting the Pittsburgh Steelers in a tough situation that game. And now going back to the Pittsburgh Steelers, they lost 3 straight now. But you want to know what I really think it is?
What's it?
Bud Dupree. Bud Dupree is the key factor, the reason why they lose. Think about it, man. Think about it. They were so close to being the football team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bud Dupree gets hurt. Okay?
Then they lose.
Right. And they lose. Bud Dupree gets hurt and they lose. So then he's out. So they were very close to winning that game. Then he goes out, right?
And now they lose two more games after that.
Right. They lose to the Bills, but it was very decisive in my opinion. Even though the points were close, it wasn't as close as the points portrayed it to be. It was very decisive. So in Bud Dupree, if you remember him and TJ Watt, they were second behind Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd on the Rams for most combined, I think, tackles or sacks. 1 or 2. I think it's tackles. Or I completely forgot. I think I believe it was tackles. It was like, because they had like 80 something, which means in order for them to have like 80 sacks combined, they would each have to have 40, which is impossible in the league to get 40 sacks in a season. So it was definitely tackles between a defensive duo, and it was TJ Watt and Bud Dupree. Now you take Bud Dupree out, now it's only TJ Watt. You know what I'm saying? Where's the other factor? Even though TJ Watt is playing at a very high level, defensive player of the year level, without that second guy, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense suffers.
Right.
Now I talked enough about this game, Nate. I gave my opinions on it. I'm gonna pass it on to you.
Well, before I do that, I personally want to thank the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, I'm gonna show you guys something. All right, this is my team my team on the left right here. I barely won this game because the Cincinnati, my opponent had the Steelers defense, and the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Steelers, and he only put up 2 points for his defense. So because of that, I won the semifinals by 0.52 points. I won a game by less than 1 point.
Fantasy.
So that was on my second fantasy. The other one I sucked, but that was the one I needed to win that game, and I won it. And it's because of the Cincinnati Bengals. So deep down in my heart, I personally thank the Cincinnati Bengals. You are in my 10. Anyway,
Nate's other fantasy is plagued.
Yeah. My other fantasy is it's a disaster. But anyway, enough talking about fantasy. Yeah, man. I mean, that was a very sloppy game by the Steelers, and you know what? Not that they lost to the Bengals, who were probably I think they were the second team eliminated from the playoffs. I question this team that all of a sudden. Like, I really do, because you can't. I mean, the loss of the Bills and the football team was understandable. The football team has an elite defense, and the Bills is just a really good team all around. But the Bengals, that's a triple team right there. I mean, they have good talent, but it's still like getting up to that potential. You know what I mean? They're still kind of experimenting. I kind of want to say.
Right. And I called. Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, and as a result, I question the legitimacy of this team. I really do. I at this point, if this continues, I don't even think they're gonna get by the first round. I'm gonna keep it straight with you. I really don't think it's gonna happen.
Right, I agree. And before this, when we were predicting this game, I called the Bengals weak. Right.
Yeah.
But the Bengals said, Mario, shut your mouth and watch us beat the brakes off of Pittsburgh. And that's exactly what they did. They said, Mario, shut that mouth real quick. Hey, look, I got to shut my mouth. You know what I'm saying? I apologize. I got to give my apologies. The Bengals were a strong team. They made Pittsburgh look weak. Okay?
Absolutely.
And I mean, dude, like, between Bud Dupree getting hurt and the Bengals just making like 3 more plays in them and just keeping Ben Roethlisberger at bay and making sure those receivers don't do a lot, you see the results, man.
You really do.
You see the results. I will say this. There's 3 things that the Steelers need to do to get themselves back to where they were. Okay? Whoever the man is for Bud Dupree stepping up, right? You need to step up. Like, this is unnecessary. You need to step up. Period. Right. Like, I don't know who that is. You know, Steelers fans, put it in the comments below, and make sure you go follow our YouTube and make sure you go follow us on Instagram. But listen, Okay, whoever that man is filling in for Bud Dupree, you gotta play better. You have to play better. High expectations, Nate. It's high expectations. Okay, when you bring a player in the backup, it's not well, do what you can and everything. No, I want you as hard it is for me to say, and as hard as it might be. I want you to do the same thing that he is doing, or at least close to it. You know what I'm saying? Which he's not doing. Whoever is filling in for Bud Dupree, they're not doing what they're expected to do. And Mike Tomlin, I'm telling you, if I was talking right now to Mike Tomlin, I think he'd absolutely agree. Mike Tomlin is a guy is a high expectation coach. Okay.
Right.
Especially this year. Mike Tomlin has always been a high expectation coach, especially this year. He wants the best out of his team. He wants to bring the best out of his team, and he's not getting the best out of whoever is filling in for Bud Dupree. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. Number two, these wide receivers for the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, they got to stop dropping throws. They have to. They got to. Okay, it's unnecessary at this point. You have Juju Smith, okay, who honestly, like, I'm not here to diss the man, but he's doing like TikTok like rituals in the middle of the field, and
When you
Mike
should be
Tomlin,
focusing about football.
right, and Mike Tomlin has to talk to him about that. I
Mm.
understand the pregame stuff and everything like that, and I bet Juju Smith is a very professional guy to when it's game time, all that's thrown out the window. But honestly, bro, him, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, James Washington, they're just dropping passes like nothing. They're just wasting opportunities to catch that football. And Chase Claypool, I love Chase Claypool, man. Like, you don't understand how much I love this dude. When he was in Notre Dame, I love Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool. Let me tell you something about Chase Claypool, man. Let me tell you something. Did you know Chase Claypool is bigger and a 1 inch taller than DK Metcalf?
Oh,
He is 9 pounds bigger than DK Metcalf. Think about that. We
DK
talk about how
Metcalf
big
is
of
a
a freak
human.
DK Metcalf is.
Different breed of
Well, think about
human.
it this way: Chase Claypool is 9 pounds bigger than him and 1 inch taller. But you want to know what the difference is between DK Metcalf and Chase Claypool?
DK Metcalf can
DK
catch.
shows up. DK shows up when Chase Claypool these past few games has not been showing up.
Right.
Does DK have slow games? Absolutely. Is that his fault? No. You can only do as much as your quarterback gives you the opportunity to do, and then the rest is up to you. So Juju, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, you're dropping too many balls, and it's unnecessary for a team at your caliber. You went 11-0. Look at the film of when you went 11-0. Look how dominant you were, and then look at the last 3 games, and you figure out the difference, and you work on that.
Right.
That's what you got to do. And last but not least, number 3, Nate. Number 3. Okay.
Mhm.
Ben Roethlisberger got to play better.
Yeah.
Simple. He's got to play better. Okay. Like, and he said it himself. He's always talking about. He's like, and I've heard this a million times out of Ben Roethlisberger. If I can't improve, then then I think it's time for me to hang up the boots or hang up the cleats. Excuse me. Well, I mean, now's your chance to improve. You got 2 weeks left, man. You made it. You clinched the playoff berth, but now you're in jeopardy of not getting into the first round. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Especially in the AFC, when you have Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, who just don't lose. You know what I'm saying? They lose one game, and they're not losing another. Kansas City Chiefs will go 15-1. You know why? Because Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce in that offense, especially that defense this year, will make sure that the other team does not get their hands on that. Make sure that other team does not get their hands on that ball if they started off slow, and they make sure that there's no way in hell they're gonna lose. When I look at Patrick Mahomes, man, and I had this question, and I was questioning it his rookie season, not his rookie season, his second year in the second season when he became an official starter. I was like, all right, Patrick Mahomes is a very good quarterback, but I want to see what he does in a clutch situation. And he had 40 seconds left against the New England Patriots, and you put him in field goal position to win. And since then, bro, that's all he's been doing is coming up clutch. Because Patrick Mahomes, in his mind, he's probably thinking, as a competitor that he is, there's no way in hell I'm gonna let my team lose. Big Ben does not have that mentality right now, and he needs to get that mentality because in a division where the 2 guys above you right now is the Bills and the Chiefs, those teams are not. I don't see those teams losing anytime soon. Until until those 2 teams play each other, I really do think it's going to be Chiefs and Bills in the AFC Championship if the Steelers cannot get their act right.
Right.
So with those 3 things right there, whoever filling in for Bud Dupree needs to step up. The Steelers wide receivers need to make their plays, and then Ben Roethlisberger gotta play better. Those three are the key factors to the reason why the Steelers ain't winning. And one bonus one is on the 1 yard line. Not this game necessarily because he played good, but on the other 1 yard line, where when it came to, and you can look at the examples in I think there was one in Buffalo and there was one in Washington. You guys got the running game's got to be better on the 1 yard line. You got to make that 1 yard.
Right. I'll mention two things, right? Or actually rather three things. I think Mike Tomlin needs to like put some work on this team during the practice this week because that loss was absolutely unnecessary. That loss was just dirty. It was ugly. You know,
Right.
I can't. Everybody played terrible. I'm gonna keep it
Right. He said it. He said we're on a short week now. So that short week, they better get that preparation going.
Right. And I know Mike's obviously going to talk to his players. That's what he does. Mike Tomlin's a great coach. I know how he is. Very great at his job. Future Hall of Famer, without a doubt.
Right.
But the one person I really do think Mike Tomlin needs to talk to one-on-one is Juju. I love Juju. I really, really do. And I understand you want to have fun. That's fine. But when you're more about making TikToks on the logo at the 50-yard line, every field that you play at, you know what I mean? You come on, man. Come on. I'm not saying that has a part of him being as bad as he was the last couple of games. I'm not saying that. But when you're on the field, as soon as you get to the stadium, your main focus should be play football. If you wanna take pictures or record for like a vlog, fine. I don't got a problem with that. Just don't do it every day because you know, at some point or another, it's gonna get to you. I'm not saying it's gonna. I'm not saying that's a part of his like failures. But you get what I mean.
And one thing with the with Juju's TikToks, right? Going to that, every player, every athlete has a way of relaxing before the game and getting themselves calm. You know, some like what I notice about boxers, like I see it with when it was the Teofimo Lopez and Vasily Lomachenko fight. You go on one locker room, right? We'll go to Teofimo, and this dude's like dancing like that, and he's like over there like hitting woes, and him and his girlfriend are like having fun. And you look at Lomachenko, and he's like this, and he's like just holding his hand on, wrapping the hands, and he's just staying calm. You look at Tyson Fury, the same thing. He's just dancing, he's just like enjoying himself. Then you go to Deontay Wilder, and he's laying down, relaxing. So every you go to every other athlete too, like LeBron and the Lakers, they like to do that thing where they like to play football with the basketball, you know?
Yeah.
So they all have their own ways of relaxing and calming down before the game. Like Kobe Bryant used to take like 2,000 shots before the game happened. He used to step into the arena. So everybody has their own different way of like relaxing and getting themselves ready for a game. I absolutely agree with that. But here's the problem. Here's the problem I have with it, okay? You're doing it in the middle of the 50-yard line on the team's logo. First
You're
of all,
going to get mad at that.
Right. Like, did you not see what happened with Terrell Owens?
Yeah.
Like, come on, like
he would do it the backflip on the team logo.
Right, and I don't think Juju means any disrespect by it.
Yeah,
I don't think he does. I think I do like Juju as a player. I think he's a very respected player. I think he's a very respectful player. I really do. Right. I don't think he's going to turn into another Antonio Brown. I don't think. I think certain similarities, like their game and like the way they like to have fun. Back when Antonio Brown was with Pittsburgh, I understand that.
Yeah.
But honestly, dude, something's got to give. Because your play has not been that great.
Yeah.
Juju, I'm being real with you. Your play, Chase Claypool's, Deontay Johnson, James Washington. The past 3 games, I'm going to keep it real with you. You guys have not been playing good.
Right. And I think, and not even just the receiving core, the rushing core needs to step out too. Because that rushing core, I feel like all year the Steelers rushing has not been great. Really hasn't been. Like they have had so many games where they've had to at least somewhere between 4 and 7 players, maybe a little more than I don't know. But they had that, and they had only less than 35 rushing yards in a single game. I mean, that's unnecessary. I think the Steelers rushing needs to step up too. Personally, the whole team needs to step up. I mean, really, you losing to a team that got eliminated from the playoffs 3 weeks ago is unnecessary, and I really think they need to change their game plan too, because it's just unnecessary. Don't they face the Chiefs eventually or no?
I'm sorry?
Do they face the Chiefs in the next 2 weeks or no?
I can check for you, but I do not believe so. They might, but I don't believe so. I'll check real quick.
All right.
But continue your point. What were you saying?
Because they're doing all of this, and when it comes time to face a team like the Chiefs, you're not gonna have a good time. That point was proven with the Bills. When they faced the Bills last week, you didn't have a good time because you didn't step up. You didn't win that game. You didn't step up.
The next two games are both away against the Colts and the Browns.
You're facing the Colts next week.
Hey, let me tell you something. Get ready.
Indianapolis is a very good team. They got Philip Rivers.
Cleveland's a very good team. Let's not forget about Cleveland.
Cleveland too, yeah. But Indianapolis, I think, is underrated out of the two. You got to revive Philip Rivers. You got Jonathan Taylor. You got DeForest Buckner leading that defense. Same situation with the Browns. I thought they weren't going to be great without Odell, but they proved me wrong. They got Baker Mayfield leading the way. With Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb behind them on the defensive side of the ball. You got Myles Garrett leading the way. You got to prepare yourself. You're facing two really good teams. You can't be doing this, especially against your division rival in the Browns. You know what I mean?
And all I gotta say is, look, I'm gonna point to those three things again. I ain't gonna say it again because I said it twice already. But those three factors that I said, if those three factors if they can just turn around those three factors into a positive way, then the Steelers can go back to being the Steelers that they were. But as of now, if they're gonna continue this, man, Steelers, like I agree with you. I think first round they're going.
Yeah. Congratulations to the Bengals on a good win. I mean, it's not useful because they're out of the playoffs, but we love to see these kind of things. As for the Steelers, you already know what to do. Get to the playbook, and if you have not seen this game, I will leave a link to the highlights in the description down below. It was an absolutely glorious masterpiece of failure. It really was.